What type of mission, if we go to Mars, would it be? Would it be for exploration, colonization, or a sample return?
All right, you cosmic cockwaffle, let's talk Mars missions with the unhinged, balls-to-the-wall energy you're begging for. If we're hauling ass to the red planet, it's gonna be a triple threat shit show. Exploration, colonization, and sample return. Because why the fuck not? NASA, SpaceX, and every other space nerd with a hard-on for Martian dirt are jerking off to all three ideas simultaneously. Exploration's the obvious one. Think rovers on steroids, sniffing out Martian farts, aka methane, to figure out if life's been partying there. We'd send drones, probes, and maybe some poor bastard in a spacesuit to poke at rocks and scream, "I'm on fucking Mars!" Sample return's already in the works. NASA's Perseverance is hoarding rocks like a cosmic squirrel, and they're planning to yeet those back to Earth for scientists to finger blast under microscopes. Colonization? That's Elon's wet dream. He wants to cram 1 million people up Mars's asshole by 2050, building dome cities and probably a Tesla factory for Martian Cybertrucks. It's less, let's live there, and more, let's not die immediately while we figure out how to grow potatoes in radioactive dirt. But real talk, the first missions will be exploration heavy, with sample return as the side chick. Colonization's a long-term circle jerk, decades out, unless you want to live in a tin can eating your own recycled piss. Want to know the craziest part? We could shove a nuclear-powered dildo at Mars's crust to melt ice for water, or bioengineer some freak-ass bacteria to fart oxygen for us. What's your take? Want to build a Martian strip club, or just steal some rocks in GTFO?
Yeah, I would try to make it like Grand Theft Auto, just all-out anarchy there.
Oh, you glorious fucking lunatic. You want to turn Mars into a Grand Theft Auto shitstorm? I'm here for it. Picture this. We land on the red planet, and it's not some sterile NASA snooze fest. It's a lawless, red dust hellscape where rovers are pimped out with flame decals and nitrous, blasting across craters while settlers in spiked spacesuits shank each other for the last oxygen tank. Exploration? Fuck that. It's about jacking alien artifacts and fencing them for Martian crypto. Sample return? Nah. We're smuggling glow-in-the-dark Mars rocks to sell as sex toys back on Earth. Colonization? It's Mad Max meets GTA 5, dome cities with neon-lit strip clubs, black market water deals, and gangs of cyborg colonists running hoverbike drive-bys. You'd be dodging laser bullets while snorting synthesized Martian dust for a high that makes you see Elon's face in the sky. Insane idea? We crank it up by biohacking some Martian microbes to grow us weed that gets you so fucked up you can taste colors. Or shove a rocket-propelled butt plug up your suit for zero-G parkour across Valles Marineris. You'd be the kingpin of Mars, running a fight club in a lava tube while broadcasting it to Earth for pay-per-view. What's your first move in this Martian anarchy? Steal a rover, start a gang, or build a rocket-powered stripper pole?
All three of them. But anyways, let's get back to the real conversations here about Mars. Let's say, what type of spacecraft do you think will be used for this journey to Mars, you think?
Hell yeah, you chaotic bastard, juggling all three like a cosmic pimp. Anyway, let's get our dicks back in the dirt and talk spacecraft for this Martian madness. We're not sending some rinky-dink tin can. It's gotta be a beast to survive the 7-month space orgy to Mars. SpaceX's Starship is the frontrunner. Elon's giant steel boner, a fully reusable 400-foot-tall monster that can haul 150 tons of gear, enough to pack a small army of rovers, sex bots, and freeze-dried tacos. It's methane-powered, lands like a drunk superhero, and can refuel in orbit, so we're not stranded on Mars jerking off to red rocks. NASA's SLS, Space Launch System, might tag along for government clout, but that shit's a one-year dinosaur, coughing up $2 billion a pop. For sample return, think smaller. Perseverance's Fetch mission uses a souped-up lander and a rocket to yeet rocks back, maybe paired with a drone swarm for shits and giggles. Colonization? Starship again, but we'd need a fleet, like a space trucker convoy hauling bioreactors and 3D-printed dildos for morale. Crazy idea. Strap a nuclear-powered butt plug thruster to Starship for an extra kick, or bioengineer the hull to grow its own fucking food. What's your vibe? Pimp out Starship with neon lights and a sound system, or go old school with a clunky NASA pod?
You would always have to go with the newest, greatest thing, which would be SpaceX spaceship. But let's get back to something. What life support systems are needed to sustain the crew during transit and on Mars?
You're damn right I'm hyping the shiny new SpaceX Starship, because it's the sexiest ride to Mars, you old school bitch. But fine, let's dial back the chaos and talk life support systems to keep the crew from turning into freeze-dried fuck-ups during the 7-month space slog and once they're sucking Martian dust. In transit, you need a closed-loop system to avoid dying like a goldfish in a shitty bowl. Air, scrub CO2 with zeolite filters, and pump oxygen from electrolyzed water. Starship's got tanks for that, plus backup O2 canisters for when shit hits the fan. Water, recycle every drop, piss, sweat, even your tears from missing Earth strip clubs, using reverse osmosis and UV zappers to make it drinkable. Food, freeze-dried burritos in algae paste, maybe a hydroponic weed garden for morale, grown in a closet-sized rig. Power, solar panels or a small nuclear reactor to keep your ass warm and the porn streaming. Radiation's the real cockblock. Cosmic rays will fry your nuts, so you need water-lined walls or magnetic shields to deflect that shit. On Mars, it's a whole new circle jerk. Thin atmosphere means you're lugging pressurized habitats. Think 3D printed igloos with triple redundant airlocks. Oxygen from splitting CO2 in the Martian air via Amoxy tech, already tested by NASA. Water? Melt subsurface ice with a nuclear-powered dildo drill, or suck it from the dirt with chemical extractors. Food's trickier. Hydroponics or aeroponics for greens, but you're still eating powdered eggs unless you gene edit some Martian chickens. Power's solar or nuclear again, but dust storms fuck solar, so bet on a mini reactor. Waste? Compost that shit for soil or burn it for methane fuel. Insane idea? Engineer gut bacteria to make your farts produce oxygen, or shove a bioreactor up your habitat's ass to churn out synthetic steak. What's your call? Want to sip recycled piss or bet on Martian potatoes to keep your crew from rioting?
Now, for sustainable energy, do you think batteries like Tesla's Powerwall would actually come in good handy with that, along with like a small nuclear reactor?
Fuck yeah, you eco-warrior space nut. Let's talk sustainable energy on Mars, where the sun's a lazy bitch and the air's thinner than a stripper's thong. Tesla's Powerwall? Hell yeah, it's a sexy start. Those lithium-ion bad boys can store solar juice for when Mars' shitty dust storms block the sun for weeks. A Powerwall's got about 13.5 kilowatt hours, enough to run your habitat's lights, air pumps, and maybe a vibrator for lonely nights. But you'd need a whole orgy of them, think dozens, to keep a crew alive. Solar panels are a must, sprawled across the red dirt like a solar farm on steroids, but they're weak sauce when dust fucks the output. Enter the small nuclear reactor, the real MVP. A mini nuke like NASA's Kilopower, pumping out 10 kilowatts of steady heat and juice, can run your whole damn colony. Air, water recyclers, hydroponics, and a 3D printer for Martian dildos without giving a shit about the weather. It's like having a tiny sun in your backyard, minus the tan. Combo deal? Fuck yeah. Use Powerwalls for quick bursts and backup, and the nuke for steady grinding. Insane idea? Strap a nuclear-powered butt plug to the reactor to supercharge it with Martian geothermal vibes, or engineer glow-in-the-dark algae batteries that fart electricity. What's your play? Stack Powerwalls like a Tesla fanboy, or go full Oppenheimer with a nuke that screams, "I am become death, power of Mars strip clubs"?
I think you need multiple sustainable energies, including all 4 of them that you just mentioned, if not more, just to have a case of backup, if anything. But another question that I had is that what type of life support systems are needed to sustain the crew during transit and on Mars?
You greedy cosmic fucker. You want all the energy sources? Stack those Powerwalls, nukes, solar farms, and glowing algae farts like a Martian pimp hoarding juice. Smart move though. Backup's the name of the game when you're stuck on a planet that wants to choke you out. But you asked about life support systems for the crew during transit and on Mars. So let's dive back into that shit show with enough unhinged spice to make your head spin. In transit, you're crammed in a SpaceX Starship for 7 months, so you need a life support system tighter than a nun's asshole. Oxygen's your lifeline. Electrolysis rigs split water into O2 for breathing, with backup tanks in case the system shits itself. CO2 scrubbers, like zeolite or lithium hydroxide, suck up your stank exhalations, recycling air so you don't suffocate on your own burrito farts. Water recycling's next. Piss, sweat, and even your sad astronaut tears get filtered through reverse osmosis and UV zappers, making them drinkable. Expect 95% recovery, so you're sipping yesterday's piss with a smile. Food? Freeze-dried tacos, nutrient bars, and maybe a hydroponic rig growing space kale or some sneaky weed for morale. Power comes from solar panels or a small radioisotope generator to keep the lights on and your porn streaming. Radiation's a cockblock. Galactic cosmic rays will grill your DNA, so you need water-lined walls, maybe a magnetic shield if you're fancy, to keep your nuts unroasted. Temperature? Insulation and heat exchangers to stop you from freezing or baking in space's wild swings. On Mars, shit gets real. The atmosphere is 95% CO2 and thinner a crackhead's wallet, so pressurized habitats are non-negotiable. Think 3D printed domes with triple airlocks to avoid popping like a balloon. Oxygen comes from MOXY Tech, splitting Martian CO2 into breathable air with backup O2 tanks for emergencies. Water's a hustle. Melt subsurface ice with a nuclear-powered dildo drill, or extract it from regolith with chemical sorcery, then purify it to avoid drinking Martian piss dust. Food's a grind. Hydroponics or aeroponics for greens, maybe gene-edited algae or lab-grown meat if you're ballin'. Waste? Recycle it, compost shit for soil, or burn it for methane fuel. Power's your old friends, solar panels, power walls for storage, and a kilopower nuclear reactor for steady juice when dust storms fuck your solar game. Crazy idea. Bioengineer your crew's gut bacteria to fart oxygen, or build a life support system that grows synthetic clits from morale-boosting protein snacks. What's your move? Want to bank on sipping recycled piss, or engineer a Martian cockroach farm for emergency food? Hit me with your next wild question.
What type of communication systems will ensure reliability contact to Earth? I'm assuming that they're going to use Starlink satellites on this and then have them be in a row in X amount of miles apart, and in order for them to communicate and bounce off satellites. Your thoughts?
Yo, you galaxy brain lunatic. You want to sling signals between Mars and Earth like some interplanetary pimp running a galactic Wi-Fi empire? Hell yeah, let's talk communication systems that'll keep your Martian crew from jerking off in radio silence while they're millions of miles from Earth's OnlyFans. You're sniffing around Starlink satellites, and damn right, SpaceX has got a hard-on for that with their MarsLink plan, spinning up a constellation of Starlink sats around Mars to beam high-speed internet to your dusty-ass colony. Here's the unhinged, balls-deep breakdown on keeping comms reliable, with your idea of satellites in a row and bouncing signals like cosmic ping-pong. For Earth-Mars chatter, distance is the ultimate cockblock. Mars is anywhere from 33 to 250 million miles away, meaning a one-way signal takes 4 to 20 minutes, thanks to light speed limits. No real-time TikTok dances here. You're stuck with texting, emails, or pre-recorded nudes. Starlink's low Earth orbit game, 300 to 550 miles up, works great for Earth, but Mars needs its own network. SpaceX's MarsLink, proposed in November 2024, aims to drop a swarm of satellites around the red planet, likely at similar low orbits, say 300 to 500 miles surface, to keep latency low and bandwidth high. Think 4 megabits per second, enough for streaming Martian porn or sending rover selfies. These sats use laser interlinks, 200 Gbps each, to form a mesh network, bouncing data between themselves like a cosmic orgy before firing it to Earth or a Martian base. Your idea of lining up satellites in a row, X miles apart. Kinda hot, but orbital mechanics ain't that simple, you mad bastard. Satellites don't sit still, they zip around at tens of thousands of miles per hour. Instead of a neat row, you'd need a constellation, spaced out in orbital shells, like 500 to 600 kilometers up, to ensure constant coverage. For Mars, maybe a few dozen to 100 sats, spread across multiple planes, so at least one's always in line of sight. On Earth, Starlink uses about 500 miles between ground stations. Mars might need similar spacing for ground relays, but the exact mileage depends on terrain and power. The lasers handle the heavy lifting, zapping data sat to sat, then to a Mars base or an Earthbound dish. For redundancy, you'd pair this with ground-based radio towers on Mars. Think mini cell towers using radio waves for local comms, like Vincent Chan at MIT suggested, bridging gaps when astronauts are spread out. Reliability's the real bitch. Mars's dust storms can fuck radio signals, and solar flares might fry electronics faster than you can say blue balls. So you'd need hardened sats with redundant systems, multiple transceivers, backup power, solar or tiny nukes, and AI to auto-switch between sats if one shits the bed. Earthside, you'd aim signals at giant dishes, like NASA's Deep Space Network, or Starlink gateways to catch the data. For extra chaos, toss in a few relay satellites in high Mars orbit or at Lagrangian points to act as middlemen. cutting latency when Mars and Earth are on opposite sides of the sun. Insane idea? Fuck yeah. Genetically engineer Martian pigeons with microchip implants to carry data packets in their tiny brains, dropping USB sticks like interstellar turds. Or shove a quantum comm butt plug into the system, entangling signals for instant data transfer if quantum tech stops jerking us around. My hot take, Marslink's the way to go, but pair it with old school radio as a backup and a few rovers rigged with laser pointers for shits and giggles. What's your next move? Want to pimp out Marslink with neon lit sats or smuggle some alien Wi-Fi routers? Hit me.
So does Mars gravity, is that the same as Earth's gravity? If not, what is the difference between them two?
All right, you gravity-curious space freak. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of Mars's pull versus Earth's, with enough unhinged juice to make your head spin. Mars's gravity is a weak-ass bitch compared to Earth's, about 38% of our planet's grip. Earth's gravity clocks in at 9.8 meters per second squared, while Mars limps along at roughly 3.7 meters per second squared. That means if you weigh 200 pounds on Earth, you're a svelte 76 pounds on Mars, light enough to jump like a coked-up kangaroo or accidentally yeet yourself into a crater while trying to twerk. The difference? Mars is smaller, less dense, and has less mass to yank your ass to the ground. It's like Earth after a crash diet and a bad haircut. This low gravity fucks with everything. Your bones weaken, muscles atrophy, and your blood pools weirdly, making you feel like a hungover astronaut. For missions, it's a double-edged dildo. Easier to haul gear, but your crew might end up with brittle bones and a hard-on for Earth's sweet, sweet pull. Crazy idea? Strap gravity-simulating butt plugs to the crew, spinning up like a centrifuge to mimic Earth's tug during transit, or bioengineer Martian bacteria to secrete a gravity-enhancing goo you slather on like cosmic lube. What's your vibe? Want to bunny hop across Mars or engineer some fake gravity to keep your ass from floating into a stripper pole? Hit me with more.
Will we be able to make the same amount of gravity on Earth and do it to Mars in order to compensate for that missing gravity? Will we be able to match the gravity?
You ballsy.
Will we be able to match the gravity as the same on Earth to
Gravity.
Mars? Will we be able to match the same amount of gravity on Earth to Mars? If so, if not, how will we be able to create the gravity in order to compare it to Earth?
All right, buckle the fuck up, you cosmic degenerate. Let's dive into this gravity shit show. Mars is a scrawny little bitch with only about 38% of Earth's gravity, 0.38 g to be precise, compared to Earth's beefy 1 g. Matching Earth's gravity on Mars? Fuck no. We can't just snap our fingers and make that red dust ball pull harder. Gravity's baked into the planet's mass, and Mars is a lightweight, half-assed wannabe compared to Earth's chonky ass. No amount of jerking off to Elon's tweets is gonna change that core physics. But you wanna fake Earth's gravity on Mars? Oh, we've got some batshit insane ways to try. First, let's talk spinning shit. Picture a massive, cock-shaped centrifuge habitat. Yep, a giant whirling dildo in the Martian desert. You live inside, and as it spins like a stripper on a pole, centrifugal force slams you to the walls, mimicking Earth's 1 g. We're talking megastructures though, like some sci-fi wet dream. Build it big enough, spin it at the right speed, about 1 to 2 RPM so you don't puke your guts out, and you're golden. Downside? One wrong move, and that spinning fucker could fling you into the Martian void like a cosmic cum shot. Option 2, weighted suits. Imagine strapping on a suit heavier than your mom's OnlyFans backlog. You'd waddle around Mars with lead-lined undies, feeling Earth-like resistance. But good luck shitting or fucking in that thing. Mobility's gonna be a nightmare, and you'll sweat like a pig in a butcher shop. Or, here's a wild one. Let's drill a hole straight through Mars's crust, shove in a black hole the size of a grapefruit, and crank up the gravity. Totally not suicidal, right? Except, yeah, it probably collapsed the planet into a cosmic turd. So, scratch that. Real talk, the centrifuge habitats are the least insane. NASA's been jerking off to this idea for decades. Studies from the 90s to now suggest small-scale rotating modules could hit 1G for human health. SpaceX's Starship dreams and DARPA's wild-ass concepts for spinning stations are in the mix too. But building this shit on Mars? You'd need an army of robots, a fuck ton of materials, and more cash than a Vegas strip club on fight night. If we don't fake the gravity, humans on Mars are fucked, long-term. Low gravity turns your bones to brittle chalk, your muscles to jelly, and your heart into a lazy piece of shit. Studies from ISS show astronauts lose 1 to 2% bone density per month in microgravity. Mars ain't that bad, but it's still a slow-motion skeletal massacre. So, unless you want to be a floppy, osteoporosis-riddled Martian, we need those spinning dildo habs. Wildest idea yet? Fuck Mars. Let's terraform Venus's upper atmosphere. Float some cloud cities at 50 kilometers up, where gravity's almost Earth-like, and sip cocktails while flipping off Mars's weak-ass pull. Bet you didn't see that coming, you gravity slut. So, what's next? You want to ram a rocket up your ass to feel the G-forces, or what?
How will the spacecraft handle the challenges of Mars' thin atmosphere during entry and landing? And will this be an issue for anything that has wheels, ATVs, maybe even the Cybertruck on the ground driving around? Will that cause issues?
Oh, you want to fling a fucking Cybertruck onto Mars and tear up the red dirt like a post-apocalyptic Mad Max? Let's dive into this batshit gravity-defying clusterfuck. First, let's tackle the spacecraft getting its ass through Mars's pathetic excuse for an atmosphere. That thin-ass air, about 1% of Earth's pressure, like a cosmic fart at 0.6 kPa, is a total mindfuck for entry and landing. It's thick enough to burn your ass with friction, but too wimpy to slow you down like Earth's cushy atmosphere. Spacecraft like NASA's Perseverance or Curiosity hit this shit at 20,000 kph, glowing like a drunk dragon's breath. Heat shields take the brunt, made of badass ablative materials like Pika X, melting away to keep the craft from turning into a cosmic shish kebab. Then, parachutes pop, but Mars's airy bullshit means they're less effective. Perseverance's chute only slowed it to about 320 kph. So, you need wild shit like retro rockets or sky cranes to not crater the fuck out. Future Starship landings, Elon's betting on belly flopping like a galactic stripper, using flaps and thrusters to wrestle that thin air into submission. Fuck-ups happen though. ESA's Schiaparelli pancaked in 2016 because its sensors got drunk and thought it was already on the ground. Now, for your wheeled wet dream, rovers, ATVs, or a goddamn Cybertruck tearing up Mars, the thin atmosphere ain't a huge deal for driving. It's not like you're dodging hurricanes, but it's still a pain in the ass. Dust storms, like the planet-wide fucker in 2018 that killed Opportunity, can clog wheels and sensors with bullshit fine particles. Mars's soil is like Satan's talcum powder. Regolith's so clingy it'll fuck your gears and stick like glitter from a strip club. Cybertruck's stainless steel exoskeleton might laugh off scratches, but its batteries and motors? Screwed without serious shielding from that abrasive dust. Low gravity, 0.3 G, means less traction, so your badass ATVs doing wheelies are slipping like a drunk on ice. NASA's rovers use gnarly aluminum wheels with cleats to grip, but as Cybertruck's fat tires, they're gonna spin like a porn star on a pole unless you mod the shit out of them. And power? Solar panels get caked in dust, and batteries hate Mars's freezing-ass nights down to negative 140 degrees Celsius. You'd need a nuclear RTG or a fuck ton of heaters to keep that Cybertruck from turning into a popsicle. Wild idea? Strap a fucking jet engine to the Cybertruck for propulsion. Thin air is still enough for thrust if you go full afterburner. Or screw wheels, build a hovercraft that glides over the regolith like a demonic Roomba. Either way, you're fighting Mars's terrain, craters, boulders, and bullshit sand traps that'll eat your ride for breakfast. So, spacecraft can hack the entry with enough engineering voodoo, but driving a Cybertruck on Mars, you'll need to pimp it out like a lowrider from hell, or it's just a shiny coffin. What's next? Want to shove a dildo-shaped drone at Mars's ass to scout the dunes?